Hey everybody, we are the Jersey Comic Crew, and right now, Rob and I are going to talk about Joker War. What happened to Batman 95 through the big issue 100? Come on inside and check it out.
Hey guys, we're the Jersey Comic Crew. Thank you so much for joining in today. We're going to discuss the Joker War that covers issues 95 to 100 of the Batman comic book standalone story. Are you ready, Chris? Are you ready for the highlights? Did you read?
I'm ready.
Of course you read. He always reads.
Me? Is that a question?
He's camped outside on Tuesday nights waiting for the new comics on Wednesday. Like
in the rain.
Let me get another buck. Just give me another buck. Just give me.
I need to know now.
So this book starts off. Think of this as the worst case scenario for Batman. The Joker has all of his money. So the Joker was able to take all of his money. And because of this money, he's able to use the underbroker. So this pretty much these underground government political head to kind of control all of the politics in the city. And then he also has Wayne, since he has Wayne Fortune under his belt, him and Punchline, his new kind of love interest, his sidekick, have Lucius Fox drugged and under control. So now he has all of Batman's toys. So now Batman doesn't have the city behind him. The city government and political figure is under wraps. He has no money. All of his Bat toys are gone. Joker controls the city, and now it's the Joker is waging this war against Batman, against the world, trying to take it all down. Right. So throughout this story, we see the Wayne Towers under control of the Joker. Batman tries to get in there, tries to save, Lucius Fox, right? He's his close friend, gets into there. Punchline is there waiting for him in one of his micro caves. We see a quick shot of the cave, its surroundings. We see a nice blue shiny suit there, which we haven't really seen before. And him and Punchline are going at it back and forth. After a while, Batman starts to get a little woozy and doozy, realizes that Punchline, as a chemist of her own, took the Joker serum, mixed a little bit of fear toxin, and took a little bit of venom, made her own unique batch to poison Bat to really set him on a loop. Yeah. Now, this puts Batman, with the next, couple of issues, in this hallucinogenic state. We find him, he sees, visions of a future that he thought he would live one day, him in that blue shiny suit, stopping Mr. Freeze and Sons, which was really cute. I think one was called Snow Cone, one was Ice Pop. I thought that was fun.
Ice Pop.
Alfred is still alive in these delusions. Spoilers, Alfred is dead. He was killed in the, couple of issues before. And he's, going to meet with Miss Kyle and all this kind of stuff. Then next starts snapping. We see him come back to life. Harley Quinn is there. Harley Quinn is trying to help Batman take down the Joker. Batman just jumps out the window, tries to take on the Joker. Now, during all of this, we do know that the Joker is buying up every theater in Gotham he wants to play a movie. Turns out that movie is The Mask of Zorro, the same movie that Bruce saw with his parents the night that the parents died. That famous alleyway scene where they get shot in the head. Batman still hears Alfred's voice in his head, even though he's dead. He knows it's a delusion, but he's working with it to keep pushing forward, to keep bulldozing forward to stop the Joker at any cost. Eventually gets into one of the movie theaters, and we see the room is filled with corpses of Joker victims.
Yeah.
Joker comes on the big teleprompter. He said that he dug up all these bodies with the help of the Wayne Fortune, paying everybody, to get all the dead victims up and put them here as a reminder for Bruce of his failures. Yeah. So, and then eventually they become zombies and start attacking Bruce, which creepy, but all at the same time very cool. Eventually there's an explosion that gets set off, and we get this beautiful splash page of Batman fighting blindfolded like Daredevil, just trying to get to the middle of the setup on EMP.
Yeah.
Bruce gets out by the skin of his teeth and is saved by Harley Quinn again. Harley Quinn has played a big role so far in this. Harley Quinn takes Bruce into her Garden of Eden, this safe sanctuary place that Poison Ivy made for her under the city. Mm-hmm. And while Bruce is, under the healing process, still trying to wean off these drugs, he's going through another hallucinogenic episode. Now he's talking to Alfred. Alfred is saying, the things you're doing are childish. you're the damn Batman, slaps him. You have to get your act together. While this is going on, we see Punchline comes in with a flamethrower, starts burning the Eden, starts fighting Harley Quinn. And now at this point, we're going to talk a little bit about, I was impressed by Punchline. I was like, all right, you're fighting, essentially Joker's ex, and you're holding your own in an interesting way. It's just not a throwaway for me. Then we see the beautiful splash page from George Jimenez, Batman jumping out with the shadow saying Batman on it, where he takes down Punchline.
So good.
Last thing we see, Batman calls in reinforcements, calls the Bat family. This gets us to the end of the war. Bruce goes to fight Joker at Ace Chemicals. Where else? The Bat family is pretty much doing damage control everywhere. During this, and one of the tie-in issues that we're not going to talk too much about today, Selina Kyle, with the help of Riddler and Penguin, take the fortune back for Gotham. They take back the fortune from the Joker, give it back to Bruce. At least we think so. So that way, all the Joker goons that were getting paid crazy money, some of them are leaving because they're not getting paid. The underbroker essentially ends his contract with Punchline, saying, hey, you don't have any money. I'm sorry, you're poor. You're on your own. I can't keep the government at bay anymore. Goodbye. Dick Grayson comes in with the rest of the gang, takes out Punchline. And then we see this slugfest between Joker and Batman, which we love to see. But Joker is in a blue mech suit Batman, which we saw previously in the previous issue. That's the suit that Batman wanted to wear once the Gotham was saved, right? Once it was like Metropolis, his perfect dream. While he's doing that, he's fighting. He also has to protect Alfred. Alfred was resurrected. So while Bruce is trying to fight the Joker, he's trying to make sure that corpse isn't destroyed anymore, isn't desecrated. Ultimately, as Batman is losing this fight, gets stabbed in the back a couple of times. Who comes to save the day again? Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn shoots the Joker in the face, right in the eye. Joker's still alive. This isn't three Jokers. He's still alive.
Yeah.
But she straps a bomb around him, puts it, handcuffs him. She runs off with the bomb. She says, you only have time to save one of us. You either have to save me and let the Joker die finally so we can move on from this, or you save the Joker and you're a sick, twisted monster. Book ends.
Classic ultimatum.
We see Batman saved Harley Quinn, but of course Joker broke out, and then there's some big epilogues, which we'll save afterwards. Now, that's all the major events in this book, guys. Chris.
I am spent, and I'm going to go take a nap.
I am spent. That could be, and that was very rushed, guys. I understand, but there's so much happening here, and we wanted to talk about these scenes in detail, but we wanted to give you kind of a window of what happened in this event before we move forward. Now, Chris, you talked about Punchline. You said you're not sure how you feel about Punchline. Yeah. Elaborate on that a little bit more for me.
Yeah, so I like Punchline. I think she's a great addition to the mythology, and a great, even more so, could become, in my opinion, more of a foil character to Harley than even Batman, right? I think that's a bigger play. And
I think so too.
I like that her origin's different. I like that she's kind of like this college student who, went down a rabbit hole and was seduced by the Joker, and seduced in a different way than Harley was. And is, in your college years, you're a very impressionable human being. It's kind of where you're figuring out who the hell you are and what you want to be. Mm-hmm. I like that aspect of the book, and how she goes from this normal chick to just boom, straight into Punchline. And I liked a lot of her aspects. It was a book that was packed with stuff, right? You had the Joker Batman side, you had Batman in his mind, you had Harley, you had Catwoman, you had all these different sides to it. And Punchline wasn't in it as much as I thought she'd be. I didn't need her to be in it anymore. No. I think she was serviceable. It was great. There's so much. No, absolutely. Like, I'm not saying I wanted more. Like, she wasn't in it as much as I thought because of how they promoted her.
Oh,
and how they pushed
ridiculously
and pushed the character with like 1,000 variants and all this other stuff. But I liked what she was in it, but I did want to know more of who she is. Like, we got a glimpse, and I think we'll get more later on, and she's getting a one-shot soon. But I did want a little more of like the person, and why do I care that you're here, and why do I care that you're fighting this person, besides like the girlfriend aspect.
I guess we're gonna get that in the one shot.
Yeah, that's what I think. But yeah, I did like her character. I did like how she in this story specifically, her main focal job was to be at Wayne Enterprises, making sure Lucius Fox was helping Joker. And she's mentioned herself that she's weaned herself off of Joker toxin. So she somehow has figured out like a new Joker toxin, which affects Batman, but she's also immune to it. Like she, I guess, has been giving herself small doses to like go through it and wean herself off, which is crazy.
I mean,
And that was cool.
we've seen that before. Like Deathstroke is immune to most poisons because he's done that, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool to see like somebody this close to the Joker who's immune to it, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if Harley's immune to it or not. I think she might be because she was poured into the chemicals.
Maybe.
But to see somebody who has this mastery over it, especially to combine Joker toxin, Venom, and Fear toxin into one thing, you know, that's a hell of a drug, and that is no small feat. So that was when I heard that to me solidified that she is a threat to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah.
Now,
like she means business.
we talked about this a little off the air, of course, and now you said your favorite character in this whole Joker war was Harley Quinn.
Yeah. And that's, to me, that was surprising too. I really loved Harley in this because it was new and fresh. It was a Harley that was not just a crazed villain obsessed with one single thing. It was someone who has been through this and was coming to this as a veteran of the situation, meaning Punchline's the new girl. You know, she knows the Joker inside and out, and she's basically telling Punchline, like, you really want to fight me? Because I know what's going to happen to you. And he's going to, it's great right now. It's the best time of your life, but in a couple of years, it's not going to be. And we even see the fallout of that. Like, Punchline doesn't want to believe her, slices her throat to the point where, like, oh, is Harley dead? Like, but no, of course not.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Harley was great. I love that Harley was almost also the moral center for Batman. And the question we all have of, like, you know, which I think this book, over everything it did, the best part of this book was, okay, how many times have you fought the Joker and you haven't killed him and he escapes lockup and he kills again? And even the Joker himself is like, look at all the people I killed that he zombie rectifies in all these movie theaters. So I think that question, having Harley basically taking the role of the audience reading and the fans reading and saying, okay, is this just another Joker storyline that we're getting oversaturated with DC? Or what is going to be different about this? And I think Harley was that answer, and I loved it.
I also agree with Harley not being oversaturated in this issue. But not issue, this story arc, right? Because I think she was used an appropriate amount. Like, she came in to grab Bruce. Like, this book ultimately was Bruce dealing with his own demons after Alfred was murdered, right? To me, this is like the real goodbye to Alfred. Like, you're actually getting through this in these dark crisis moments and actually burying your father figure, getting your family back together, and rebuilding yourself. That's what this book was to me. Like, seeing Joker do all this kind of stuff, and like the worst case scenario, like Joker had full control over everything.
Yeah,
it was great. It was awesome to see. Like, this Joker War storyline, this arc for me is probably one of my favorite Batman story arcs in a very long time. Like,
really?
Yeah, I think this is on par, if not even better, than some of the Scott Snyder stuff that we had back in the day. Like, I think it was that well done. The art, for me, the art and the story have to mirror each other. The art was on par with the story here, and it was beautiful. Like, I can't wait for this to be a hardcover collector's. It's going right on my shelf, right behind me. It was fantastic. The scenes where we saw the town being terrorized.
Yeah.
We saw explosions everywhere, them doing violence and, like, killing people. Like, you believed in the chaos. It felt distorted, the images, but it was also done beautifully.
Yeah.
But going back to the main storyline of this stuff, like, this was Batman dealing with the fact that he's not going to get that bright, shiny future that he has if he continues the path that he's on, right? If he continues the path that he's on, it's just going to be more of the same, right? The Joker took everything, broke it, showed a physical representation of him in the perfect Batsuit, if you will, with his own butler, Alfred, being zombified. Like, Batman needs to change. And it's because Batman always works alone, or tries to work alone, pushes others away. And I think the resolution at the end of this was that he can't do that anymore. He has to work with his family. He has to deal with the death of Alfred and move forward, right? So
yes, and maybe I don't know. I like. Hey, maybe that's what you got from the book.
That's what I got from it. Yeah.
I didn't necessarily get that
Okay.
aspect from the book. I got the aspect of Bruce needs to think differently and realize hard truths as well, and stop trying to fill the voids.
Fair.
Not necessarily like use the family all the time. I think Batman works best when he's alone still. Like to this day, I'll argue that to the death, just because I think Batman is a loner character, and like I like certain books when the family comes in and helps out. I also like storylines where it's just him, and I think DC's riding a line now where, you know, with Tom King and everything that's about to happen with Batman, Catwoman too, you know, does Bruce get to be happy as well as be Batman? And also the other side of this is, to me, this isn't even a Batman story. It's a Bruce Wayne story, right? The Joker's not going after really Batman in this instance. He's going after Bruce. And we've known for a while the Joker knows who Bruce is, and he doesn't really care. And I think this one he cared. That's why he goes after the fortune. It's not really just about Batman. It's about Bruce and like letting this go, and, you know, the story of Bruce Wayne, and you're not going to get what you think you're going to get. And I think that's the real mindset.
I want to talk a little bit about the epilogue stuff.
Well, before that, I got one more thing in the story.
Go ahead.
So this was more, I think it was a tie-in. I think it was a detective tie-in, which to me solidified the Joker's point of view in this story more so than even the Batman books. He takes a trip to Arkham, and Joker takes a trip to Arkham, and he goes to Bane's cell. And as we know, Tom King's last run was, you know, City of Bane, and Bane killed Alfred. And basically the Joker's very angry at Bane. And he goes into Bane's cell and is like, you could have been better than me. You had the city, you had Alfred, you had the Bat family, you locked down the city. And he goes, you didn't kill Alfred in front of Bruce? Are you an idiot? Do you not have a theatric bone in your body? So basically it's the Joker, in all seriousness, flipping out. And half of Joker War isn't even about Batman. It's basically showing Bane what he should have done.
I like that.
Which I don't know if that parallels to James Tynion being like, Tom King, this is what you should have done, or this is the impact Bane should have had, where Bane should be talked about on the echelon of, you know, Joker and, you know, the top tier Bat villains.
I can see that, like, looking at the greater scope of that. For me, I don't see Bane doing that. Like, it's not in his character to kill Alfred in front of Batman.
Why not?
Because I think Bane doesn't have this romantic relationship with him like the way that Joker does. Like, Joker idealizes, wants to break Batman to everything. Bane already broke Batman in every way possible at that moment. This was about sending a message, and he had no idea where Bruce was.
True. And, like, Bruce was on that island or whatever.
He was on the island, and this was like, oh, I'm going to kill Alfred. So the Bat family, who he knows was near, he had to stop, right? And then
I just love that aspect, though. Joker took it so personally that it wasn't done well. And I thought that was a very interesting tie-in, which isn't, Tynion didn't even write that one. That's Pete Tomasi, because it's detective. So I thought that was a very interesting aspect of it, too, that wraps into the story of like, oh, is Joker War basically like the aspect of, I'm doing what Bane did, but I'm doing it the right way as a FU to Bruce and the rest of the villains to be like, no, I'm back. This is how you do things. This is how you get stuff done. Which is also why we see Riddler and Penguin like terrified to make a move, because they're like, no, this is different, right?
When you compare Joker and Bane, right? The City of Bane, my only issue was dragged out, and the Thomas Wayne aspect didn't hit home like it should have. But Joker is chaotic evil. Bane is more like lawful evil or neutral evil, right? Like, he wanted to control the city, and like, Bane had cops, right? Bane had policemen in there. They were villains, of course, but he still wanted order. Joker just wanted chaos. So I see very well that this was a Joker saying, this is how you should take it over, but they just have two different ideals, right? True. And that's why that happened. I think that is awesome. So moving on to the epilogue, guys, it's broken into 3 different stories. The first story is the setup for the new arc that's coming out, right? It's they introduce the introduction of a new character, the Ghost Maker. This silver suited, like ninja looking guy, has 2 katanas there. Looked really cool. I don't know what to expect from him, but visually, I'm in it. I like it. And then he had a map of the city, or he or she, could be she. We don't know yet. But there's a map of the city. Obviously, they're in some kind of base. Had 2 ninja swords, a great flowing cape. I like the blue lights. Do you have any theories of who this is?
Rob's like, I'm going with aesthetics here.
I like the aesthetics.
I may have a theory.
What's your theory?
Yeah. So my theory is it's only 1 page, right? So it's not much to go on.
Yeah.
But what was said is very interesting to me because it basically says like, oh, the city is destroyed or destruction, something or other, Bruce. And this isn't the vision our families had when we were kids or something along the lines of that. Or like, when we were kids, this isn't what we thought would happen to our future or something along the lines of like someone who clearly knows Bruce.
Our teachers would have been ashamed is the exact line.
Exactly. I have 2 theories. One, it's either Tommy Elliott Hush, because it has to be someone who knows Bruce Wayne when he's young, and we haven't really seen Hush do anything. And the other option, and these are both dudes, but I think the other option is Lincoln March, the half-brother of Batman himself, Bruce Wayne, because he was a Talon. Joker released the Talons at one point,
like that,
and resurrected him to fight Bruce, and then he kind of disappeared, right? So I don't think he's a Talon anymore. I don't think he's connected to the Court of Owls anymore, but that ghost suit is a little smidgen owl-esque, and it's very, white silver, which we see the master.
One of the lines that he said, like, our teachers made this decision, and then it says, the truce is over. This, to me, bleeds into League of Assassins. Like this.
I was thinking that too, but who?
From the League. I think it's a new character that we haven't seen. Somebody who
trained. Talia?
No. Talia's not this theatrical kind of person, right? At least I don't see.
I don't know if we don't know if it's theatrical yet, though. It's 1 page.
No, the suit of armor. Talia wouldn't wear all that.
Why not?
Anyway, I think it's a new character that somebody trained with Bruce in the League that was a really close friend.
Maybe.
And that they formed a truce that, like, he's going to do his thing. We'll come into Gotham because he wanted to come into Gotham to kill people. And then Bruce just failed. And he's like, you know what? Now I have to come in. So definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. The next epilogue talks about the Clown Hunter. So, we see the little boy goes back to his room. And Batman's in there waiting and pretty much says, I know what you did in the arrows. How many did you kill? If you need help, here's the number to Leslie Tompkins. The clown killer puts on his helmet. Pretty much says, yeah, I'll do that after I'm done. So this to me could be like, all right, this is an introduction of a new, it's not a sidekick, but it's definitely like definitely a new younger character they're going to have to deal with. I can see this being somebody that, Red Robin and that kind of group could deal with. I don't really know how much they're going to put into this character.
This is the part of the book that I didn't care about really at all.
I liked it.
Even in Joker War, like, I just don't see how a 10-year-old kills a giant, fully grown, steroided out guy. But I get the pain and anguish, right? We find out the kid's family was killed by the Joker 5 years ago, which also relates back to the question of, like, why isn't Batman taking Joker out fully?
And it sounds very similar to Duke Thomas. I think
very similar, but like, I don't think we need another Robin. I don't think we need another young character. The Bat family to me is oversaturated enough, and some other people may think the opposite. Some people may say the more the merrier, and that's fine as well. But I think it's too saturated. I think Duke Thomas is still a character that is not fleshed out that much.
No.
I still think Damian is Robin and is age appropriate and is the son of Bruce Wayne, which they still haven't really fully gone into besides post Batman Inc. Mm-hmm. But I don't see this a necessity right now. I think there's already too many Robin sidekicks, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera.
I view this character as the foil for Duke Thomas. Duke Thomas' parents was taken away from the Joker.
Yeah.
Duke Thomas, instead of going to kill people, luckily, with the help of Batman and Bruce, went to the side of good. I think this is a character. I'm hoping, maybe it's a better word.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they use this character. I like the helmet. I like what they did in this book. It didn't take away from it. It added a little something. Obviously, as a Batman fans, I'm a little worried that this is just going to be another hero. But I think this is going to be somebody that Duke has to deal with, whether it's Duke in Duke's own book, which I'm not sure if that's going right now, but in the Duke side of things, maybe that's a villain for Duke. Maybe this is somebody that Duke has to work with or go heads against. That's what I see.
Maybe. I mean, if it's a villain, it's a villain. But to me, it's like, all right, we have Duke as Signal, we have Spoiler, we have Orphan. All these characters right there aren't even delved into that much, at least not of late, right? And
Detective a little while ago, but not that was the
but like no one's gonna remember that reading books week to week, month to month,
no.
And adding another character without flushing out the ones that you're kind of already stuck with, right? It's like you're just adding fuel to a fire that's too big. Everything else is kind of getting lost in translation.
Well, think if they're trying to build up the world of Orphan, Stephanie Brown, Duke, even arguably Red Robin, right? Mm-hmm. To build that world, you do need to add new characters to make it dynamic. This could be part of that to deal with that. That's what I'm thinking.
It could be, but they haven't shown anything to hint that, right? It seems to be more like, are we going back to the same trope of Bruce Wayne collects stray cats, but they're just kids, and are we going to get another stray cat in the family, another kid who's going to be, Clown Hunter instead of Spoiler or Orphan or Robin or whatever? But I don't know. I'm not about it at the moment.
Fair enough.
It's the side of it that I could care less about. I'd rather, I love the other side. I'd rather see how Harley is in the future now because of what she's done and the ultimatum with the bomb. And it's like, no, you kill him or me, or you let him live or let me live. And, Joker had the key anyway, but it's something that I think is a little oversaturated already.
Moving on to the last little epilogue piece we see in Gotham City at some diner, some bar somewhere. Obviously, it's the Joker in disguise. Sees a video from somebody next to him, shows him the video of Punchline saying Joker used me, twisted me, did all this kind of stuff to me, and Joker immediately recognizes that she's playing the game. She got, I think, acquitted of most of her charges, if not all of them, saying she was a victim.
She got out of Arkham Asylum.
That's what she got out of Arkham Asylum, right? And then she's dealing with
the insanity plea or whatever.
Then the Joker essentially Jokerizes the guy next to him, paints him with lipstick, makes it look just like the Joker, and he says, "I'm gonna play the long game. I'll be back in a while to take care of everything. I'm gonna take my time to heal. Let Bruce take his time essentially to do what he needs to do. They're gonna spend weeks in your body trying to figure out if you're the real me or not, and then they're gonna move forward." To me, that reads, okay, part of the three Jokers. Like, I think after this goes into the three Jokers where they all reconnect and do what they got to do.
Interesting. You think that's kind of like a connection?
I think that is like the connection, the pseudo-direct / not direct connection of them taking some time and then something happens. Because... I don't know, that's just what I think.
Well, yeah, I think it definitely is going to relate to the Punchline one shot, right? Like, it's going to be like, hey, is she going to get out of this? How is she going to move forward? Is Harley going to be on her back the whole time now? Like, if Harley gets out of the hospital, she's going to be kind of watching Punchline and being like, I don't trust her.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Like, who knows? Are we going to see Punchline maybe contact Joker and he's like, go into plan 4. Execute Order 66. Who knows? But this is kind of where the storyline kind of comes to a fruition of, okay, we've seen this a billion times, right?
Yep.
Joker fights Batman. Joker loses. Joker goes away for a while. There are different lasting effects right now. We just have to wait and see those fleshed out. But yeah, like, that's gonna be interesting. I like the aspect of maybe this ties into three Jokers. Like, Joker War happens right before three Jokers.
That could be a thing.
You know what I mean? Like, in the timeline of DC and continuity. But I don't know. We'll see. I think Punchline's going to be a lot bigger, maybe even as herself and not Punchline. depending on what happens.
Oh, maybe.
And we'll see. I think Harley's not done with her. I think Catwoman isn't done with her either,
Nope.
because Catwoman in this storyline took a lot of the blame for allowing this to happen, and she rightfully so put the blame on herself for allowing this fortune to be stolen because of this deal she made. So it's going to be interesting going forward. But yeah, I think it's good that Joker's going away for a while. You don't want to oversaturate a character like Joker, because then it becomes not fun when he's back. You know what I mean?
That is our review of this comic, this Joker War event. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Let us know down in the comments what you thought of the Joker War and your thoughts on some of the stuff that we talked about.
And thank you guys so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, like, really helps the channel out. Subscribe if you're new. And thank you so much again for watching. Keep the conversation going. We could talk Joker War all day if we really had the time. And thanks again.
Hey guys, real quick, before you go, up here is our icon. If you haven't subscribed, you make sure you hit that. And then over here are some more videos that you might like. Thank you so much.